What is up, guys? It's Rahul here today, and I've got not one, not two, but three tournament reports for you all as my final three tournaments of the E block rotation, and we head to EUIC. I know you guys do enjoy these tournament reports, so the road to Rahul's Worlds journey will continue, even if I do good or bad. I always made it a promise to talk to you about how I do, so you guys can learn from my mistakes, or just a bad day in general, because I'm human too. So E-Block rotation is ending as of this weekend, basically. If you have any cups or challenges or whatever throughout the week, up till Friday, you can still play your E-Block cards. But as of Friday, April 5th, I believe, F-Block rotation begins. I will be at EUIC in London playing with my new Temporal Forces, A-Spec, whatever, yada yada cards, the ones that look like cotton candy. So that'll be that when we get there. But I figured I would play some old favorites before the end of format. So I had a challenge on Thursday night, and I had two cups this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So I decided to roll up to them with a couple of decks. You can see two screenshots up top. I'll show you each of those decks in a second. The first one was a Mew VMAX. I played this to my Thursday night challenge. We had 5 rounds, I think 17 Masters. Pretty small, but I do think that at the end of a rotation period, people kind of peter off and don't really want to play one because they're already like looking forward to the next one. And so players who don't really have to play for Worlds don't really want to like play a format they don't have to, if that makes any sense. Like they'd rather just like kind of play what they want to rather than play what they have to. And on the flip side, I do think that if you're going for a Worlds invite or you're like at that last little hurdle, this is a point of time where you need to be pushing because the season does end a little bit earlier than usual. Like usually the season would end of June, like first weekend of July, because that's usually what NAIC is. But this year it's a whole month earlier, which puts you on a clock where you have to play much earlier and get those points in. So if you need to get those last cups and challenges in, like there's not a lot of weekends left. Don't feel a ton of pressure, but you should feel some fire under your ass and get that done. That being said, Mew challenge, I played Colin Murray Matthews, Mew list. He's the Mew guy, he's the Mew god. I figured, you know what, might as well play his list, even though there's 3 crammed that I don't agree with, but whatever, we'll send it. So round 1 of the challenge, I step into the room, I play against Tina. My opponent flips over a Tomb as his opener. I do my first turn, I don't get any fusion on the board. I basically have to pass with doing barely anything, no VIP pass, nothing. He has a pretty good start, does his thing. Abyss Seekings turn 1. I don't have a response knockout. I go tails on Cram. I think I top deck the Cram and basically have to pass it back. 2 or 3 turns later, I end up losing the game, but my opponent does choose to concede to me because he is a local of mine and is not going for Worlds. So huge shout out to him. Thank you. I appreciate that. Round 2, I go up against Lost Box, Moltres, Moonstuff. Absolutely get bodied in that matchup. Don't get a path down, don't get to stick. He gets turn 2 Moon into turn 3 Moltres, and I just can't do anything, and I lose the game in back-to-back turns. And once again, he's a local friend of mine, so he chooses to scoop. So again, I've lost the moral victory with Mew, but I am winning, and I'm 2-0. Round 3, I go up against a good friend of mine, Adrian, who is playing Valiant Entei. He's been playing that all format. And this matchup is like probably one of the worst for him because he doesn't play Tomb, none of that stuff. So I basically go first, have a pretty insane start. He starts setting up the loop on Meloetta. So in response, I just attach a fusion. I get to go into Ice Q and Ice Q his Entei. He missed the attack with Entei. So I just Ice Q it. And then after I Ice Q the Entei, I'm able to put a path down. He basically misses off the path, like he can't play because of the path. And I have a boss in hand, so I just boss up the other Entei on his bench, and I just Ice Q that one as well. So now I've taken 4 prizes with a lone Ice Q, and he is able to kill my Ice Q, bump the path, and I think he Iono'd me to 2. But in response, I basically was able to find the VMAX boss because he attacked me with Radzard. Boss onto Valiant and Energy Tablet for a game. So now I'm 3-0. Round 4, I hit George playing Zard. I go first, start the game, get a path down. George basically goes Charmander, draw. No VIP pass, nothing. Ends up going attached, discard my Stadium, which only ends up helping me because I just end up killing him. He shows me the fish in his hand, but it doesn't matter because if he benches fish, it's just going to like lose the game anyway, like over 2 turns. So its best bet is to discard my Stadium and have a shot. I'm now the only 4-0 left in the tournament. And there's a couple of 3-1s that can play for basically 2nd through 4th. Based on resistance at this point, I know I'm guaranteed to win the tournament. So I end up getting paired round 5 with a friend of mine who ends up having to leave. Like, he has to dip because of a family obligation. So rather than him concede to me and just put me at 5-0 or something, I chose to ID with Dean as he dipped. guaranteeing D and some store credit and some packs and some points if he needed those as well. So I ended up winning the challenge at 401. Felt pretty good, but I was like, you know what, maybe Mew's not the play. It seems to be a little bit too much like dark type stuff in Zard. I'm coming back to that same store on Saturday for a cup, so I expect the meta to be relatively the same. A lot of Lost Box stuff, a lot of Guardy stuff, so I was just like, hey, maybe this is not the play. Like, maybe I gotta like pivot off this and do something else. And so I switched to Charlie Lockier's Miraidon deck. Peony Miraidon, I figured, one last ride with Miraidon as well. So let's just run it back, see what happens. I played it for a challenge before, and I got second technically, so like, or not second, but top 4, I guess. But let's just run it back and see how the cookie crumbles, as the kids would say. So, round 1 of the cup, I end up hitting George again, who's playing his Zard deck still. I end up going first. He forces me to go first, and I have like a pretty insane turn 1 into a turn 2 Iron Hands knockout, which he Zard responds, and I'm able to go Raichu KO on his Zard, and then he Zard KOs my Raichu but misses the Iono. So I just have the Gust to kill his Luminion on the bench. He's not able to bounce the Luminion, so I just have it to take care of that, and I end the game. So it was very close back and forth, actually, but I kind of drew the absolute nuts, and I was able to get there where I needed to be. Game 2 of my tournament, I hit Lugia, Colors Lugia, which is a interesting thing to see in this day and age, and he wasn't playing a Dunsparce or anything. I went first in that matchup. I lost the flip, and he told me to go first, so I guess, like, I don't really know what the logic there was, but I ended up getting like a pretty decent start. I got like Raikou down, I got a bunch of stuff down. I didn't like have to use anything, and then he opened Snorlax, I think, and then he benched one Lugia off his turn. He gets like the Burnett off raw from hand. Aromas gets something bad. It's like a heads, so then he Ultra Balls that away. Gets a Lugia on the board. I think he puts a V-Star into hand, a Lugia on the board, pass, and I go Peony. I already had Raikou attach, so I just go Peony. Fill my board, attach, rope, knock out the Lugia, and he conceded immediately because like the game is over at that point. Even if he puts another Lugia down, it's pretty clear that I'll be able to keep ahead on the prize trade no matter what happens from this point on, and it's just chalked. So now I'm 2-0. Round 3, I go up into Adrian, who's playing Zard. Adrian it's a close back and forth, but at the end of the game, Adrian just isn't able to close it out, and I get like a lucky catcher heads onto Pidgeot somewhere in the middle of the game. And I get the Future Booster Capsule Amp on the Pidgeot, which puts me down to 1 prize, which means at the end of the game, I think he had a Stray Charmeleon or something, or even the Radzard play wouldn't work. So I was able to just go boss on that and end the game, which was super nice. And I think my board was just super flooded on energy, so he couldn't like really do much. And the way the prize trade worked out, I had made him take like Zapdos early on, so I could always go with the Mew to end the game as well, like if I needed to. I think I needed to find like something to do that though. Like maybe an energy, but I don't remember exactly. So now I'm 3-0, but I can't necessarily ID into cut because there is 17 Masters, again, top 4 cut. So there's no guarantees because there's some weird up-down pairs, and the Senior and Junior are doing very well, which means that they've been beating Masters all day and creating a weird situation across the board. So I get paired into Clifton, who's a friend of mine, and he also needs the points quite desperately for his World Championship invite. I'm playing for my potential top 16 ranking as well as just overall getting wins on the board because I like doing that. And so I offer the ID to Clifton, basically just make sure that, we put it in our own hands the next round, whatever happens. And then the next round, we both obviously get paired into 3-1 because there's no one else we can get paired into. He gets paired into George playing Zard. I get paired into Aiden, who's playing Mew. Aiden and I have a really close back and forth, but there's just one turn where I just cannot get out from under path, and that ends up costing me the whole game. So I end up losing. But based on like how my tiebreakers and stuff were going, I knew I was locked into like second or third or fourth seed. So everything shakes up. Top 4 gets locked in. First seed was Aiden. Second seed was Clifton. Aiden playing Mew. Clifton playing Tina. I was playing Miraidon, third seed. And fourth seed was Ayana playing Gardevoir. So my ideal scenario is I beat Clifton. Ayana wins. We go to finals. I get a Gardevoir. Gardevoir being one of my more favorable matchups compared to Mew. Especially Path Fusion Mew because that matchup is just really scary. Because I can just get run over. Like I can't really one-shot a Mew VMAX like easily, and he can one-shot pretty much everything in my deck with super ease. So it's just like really tough for me to play that game. And he has vacuums too, so vacuums get rid of my EXP shares. I can't really keep energy on the board. All around, really just a bad matchup, I think. So I end up going into Clifton. Game 1 and 2, I get turn 1 hands after he chooses to go first. I have the stadium bump for his path both times, so I get super lucky into like turn 1 hands, into having energy on the board, into basically like he misses turn to 280 into my guy too. So I'm able to just go Miraidon, kill his Tina now. And so I'm up 4 to 2 prizes and he has to go Path Roxanne, kill my guy. And then it's like, okay, man, it doesn't matter because I can hit your active and I can just kill you with like a Raichu or something in 2 turns. So I just won both games like pretty convincingly. But realistically, that's not how the matchup is supposed to go because Path is supposed to like slow me down more. I just like open Town Store like both games kind of thing, like in my hand. I was like, oh, that's sick. Like, cool. Yeah, so that was like really lucky. Like I think game 2 I had like Town Store, VIP Pass, like Nest Ball in my opening hand, and I was like, and I opened Mew, and I was like, wow, like that is insane. And both games I just won without even setting up Flaffy because that's how far ahead I was. So then I go into finals. Aiden ends up winning, so it's not a good matchup for me. But game 1, Aiden ends up going Genesect, Mew, Pass, and I end up getting the turn 1 Miraidon rope. No rope. Miraidon just killed the active Genesect. And he didn't play like any cards from his hand. So I'm thinking he's got Judge in his hand and some cards that are just completely stuck. So it's got to be like energy. But he didn't even attach an energy. So I'm just thinking like he's got to have some cards that are just completely stuck cards that he can't do anything with. And then he evolves to VMAX and passes back to me. And then I just like draw. I think I just like retreated into Raikou and I hit him. Because it didn't even matter, and then he just drew past, and I won game 1. Game 2, he has like a pretty slow start again, and I have a pretty insane turn 1, but I don't like really get to do anything. I just kind of get a bunch of energy on the board, and I arm press his Mew V in the active with the future tool, because I like kind of like lock in that I'm just like really far ahead with the Town Store, and that was like a really bad mistake on my part, because then I gave him access to Town Store to get Sealstone, and that let him kind of play the game because he was able to judge, but luckily, his Judge did not like yield any results, and I was able to just win in like 2 more turns past that. But in my mind, I was like, no, dude, I let this guy play the game for no reason after he didn't do anything again on turn 1. But luckily, old like Mew just has like a lot of dead cards that need to be played turn 1, and if they don't get played, the deck just breaks out, which is really nice for me. And so I ended up winning the cup, super awesome for me. Can't really complain. So I run it back, player 1 cup, run it back, 5 rounds. Round 1, I hit C-Pow. They choose to go second. Very weird. I just kind of run them over, going 2-2-2. Kill a Pow, kill a Pow. Can kill a Pow, can kill the hands, can kill something on the bench with hands. Like, I'm just really far ahead. Game 2, I hit Clifton again, playing Tina. This game is a lot more back and forth, but after my first peony, I noticed immediately that 3 Generator are prized. So I have a line there at the end of the game where I've taken 2 prizes, and he's at 2 prizes remaining as well. He's at 3 prizes remaining. So I could potentially go for a play where I can go get the Generator off the prizes. I have like 5 energy left in deck and like a 9 card deck or something. So it's like virtually guaranteed. It's not actually guaranteed. Like that's not how math works. But if I hit 2 off that, go to Miraidon, or not Miraidon, to Raichu. Raichu kill his only Tina in play. He gets a Sableye prize if he needs it. But there's nothing on my board to Sableye because he had Avery at some point. So there's no good prize for him to take. I go Raichu KO. I get Generators. I have Rod left. I can go Rod Energy's back, Generator again, to hands, which would have 1 energy. Like I had energy left. I would have left hands with 1 energy plus the future booster capsule. So then I can go hands, attach, amp for game. And that was my like line in my head because I was like, okay, I have the line. And then I took my 2 prizes and neither of them were Generator. And I just flipped over the 4. And the 4 prizes were like Peony, Generator. And Clip's like, can I take a picture? Which, yeah, it's like, of course, like that's just really unlucky. So 1-1. We go up against another POW, and they end up with losing the game by 1 energy. Like, they have everything for hand switcher onto my Squawk at the end of the game. But they end up being 1 energy card short of doing what they need to do because they just never establish a barrel. And I get lucked out. I, like, luck out. I breathe a sigh of relief. Feels awesome. I get to go to 2-1. We go to a lunch break, come back. I hit another Tina. This Tina player opts to go first into me. I don't think he knew the matchup. I think he just took blind first because why not? He has a pretty awful start. It's like literally like comfy pass, like nothing else. And he just goes put path down, pass. And I look at my opening hand and it's like active Mew, Squawk in hand, like 3 energy cards, an Ultra Ball, and that's it. So I Ultra Ball for Raikou. I attach to Mew, and then I pass. And then he basically goes from his turn, gets a Cram out and a Greninja into play, and he hits me. I have a catcher in hand, so I draw. I have DT catcher, so I go catcher, heads, tails on Greninja, which sucks. I think I top decked hands. So I bench hands, I attach to hands, I had attached a Mew instead of Raikou actually turn one. So I retreat the Mew, EXP shared the Mew into Raikou, and I pass. He draws. He goes. He's already lost one to boss. He goes second boss on my guy, kills my Mew. I go draw, attach to hands, pass. He goes do a bunch of stuff. 280 my active. He has two Tinas in play already. I go draw, boss upgrade ninja, pass. Don't even take the 2 prizes with amp. And then he does a bunch of stuff. Starts complaining about how all his energy are in his hand, so he can't gate in the same turn. And I'm like, okay, man, like, boo-hoo, it is what it is. And then he just like jets up the cram again, and then he just like hits me, and I'm like, the game's just over. Like I just can't even do anything from this point in time. So I lose. It is what it is. And then I'm at 2-2. I stick it out to see if I can hit a friend or something in round 3 or round 5 and help them out, potentially get into top 8. But I just get paired into like a different friend who like doesn't really care that we got paired. So I just concede and I head home. We saved 30 minutes, just get home early. I took a fat nap when I got home, and I started taking all my E-Block cards out of the box. They're gone. They're packed up, and now I've got 2 days till I leave for EYC. So thank you for watching my E-Block tournament report, guys. Sending a one big farewell off to Mew and Miraidon. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and say goodbye to Block E. See you, everybody. Have a good one.